For the last two topics of the gambling series, I'm going to give you a lot of advice. In this sixth part, we're going to talk about being prepared and the luck factor. The luck factor, which is present in most forms of gambling. There is a reason that the terms games of chance is used. There are three determinants of how well you do in gambling, two of which you exert some control over, and one of which you don't. The ones that you control involve strategy. First is the fundamental play of the hand. Depending upon the game, most of the time there are certain fundamentals that one needs to follow to minimize the house's edge against you and to give yourself the best chance to win. In some places, in some games like slots, there is no strategy involved, pulling the lever, pushing a button, and hoping for the best. In contrast to that, you have blackjack. To have more success, one must competently know how to draw cards, or stay, or double down, split pairs, and all the rest. So far in the GregH series on gambling, I have tried to emphasize the fundamentals of such gambling as sports betting and horse racing and the importance of handicapping. In addition, we have discussed casino games and poker, and we should never forget that although many gamble for fun, the serious side of it dictates that we play well when we can, otherwise the chance of financial carnage increases. Now, the second incredibly important element and greatly underrated strategic side of gambling is the money management aspect to it all, and what I sometimes called how to play your chips. What I mean by this is how much money to bet on each horse, or each football parlay, on each roulette spin, or in even each round of betting in poker. There is a sizable segment of the gambling population that are characterized as reckless with the chips, and as such, they almost always wind up losing. They like to push their bets, which means that they bet more when they are winning. This increases the odds of a big score, but it also dramatically increases the odds of losing money. Once in a while, they might win a wad, but losing a ton is the most common end result for those who bet too much regularly in their gambling style. Another thing to remember is sometimes when you're winning, it's time to take some chips off the table, meaning putting aside some chips that you're not going to play again, thus guaranteeing a win. Very important things like that. I'll talk about that in my tips section, which is the last topic. But betting random amounts of money unconstrained with no overall plan of when to continue and when to stop and how much money to bet will generally not make for a successful gambling experience. So fundamental play strategies and money management strategies are all exceedingly important, and they exist to deal with the third factor that gamblers have no control over, and that is the randomness factor, otherwise known as luck. Luck can be responsible for good streaks and bad streaks, but one has to remember that in public gambling, you are playing games with odds stacked against you, with suboptimal payouts via the vig, the juice, and all that. Any person who bets football or basketball spreads can tell you the times when the game nears the end result and the game has already been determined and there's meaningless action between the teams that result in a last-second uneventful score that has no impact on the game's outcome but turns your spread winner into a loser. Now, sometimes a spread loser becomes a winner in that situation, but we always seem to forget those and remember the times that it goes against us. Here's an example of the randomness factor. You bet a favorite in basketball giving 12 points. Your team is up 35 points with 10 minutes to go. Your bet is looking good. The winning coach decides to empty his bench, puts in the guys who never play. The team losing keeps the starters out there for a long time and rallies down to 16 with 20 seconds left. So that team is not going to win that game. There's no chance. Okay? In the last 2 seconds, the losing team hits a 3, then steals the ball and scores another 2-point basket at the buzzer So scoring like 5 points in like two plus seconds, and the team loses by 11. Well, you were given 12. Unlucky, as they say. You were pretty skillful in determining the outcome of a team heavily favored, and for 99% of that game, you were right, but the game isn't over until it's over. Thank you, Yogi Berra. Sometimes a dealer does get blackjack 5 times in a row, or black comes up in roulette 10 times in a row, and you are betting red. Sometimes in poker, you can be sitting there for hours and have awful hands dealt to you with little or no chance of winning, and you're paying a fee for that unpleasurable experience. Many times you will find that the other side comes in way more than it's supposed to, but then when there is really happens in that situation, and very odds against things happen that can cause gamblers to lose most of their bets, there is little to be done about that, other than stop playing before the disaster becomes a catastrophe. People often determined to wait things out until their fortunes turn around and the luck goes their way. And sometimes that can happen, but sometimes it's an endless wait for things to turn, for bad streaks to end. Often they go much longer than anybody would reasonably expect. But when it comes to gambling, there are no guarantees of good luck, and the randomness factor can be treacherous. So no matter how well you are playing, the luck factor can kill you. That is it. All that's left are my gambling tips, and they're good. Thank you very much.